Welcome to the presentation of Group 1. We present the all about globalization and why it's important to study this lesson.
Good day, everyone. We are the Group 1 for today's discussion. We are about to tackle globalization. Globalization is a term used to describe how trade and technology have made the world into independent space. The Group 5 have 5 members, and I'm the first to start this presentation. My name is John Leonard Aldeanoso, and the name of other members is Raymart Abala, Dennis Cachenza, John Lubert Lakap, and the last one, Mark Joshua Torreda. So let's start this lesson.
The term Global South collectively applies to Latin America, Europe, Africa, and Oceania, like Third World, and Periphery. It pertains to areas beyond Europe and North America that are predominantly although to all, low income and occasionally economically or culturally disadvantaged. The usage of term Global South indicates a change from a dominant emphasis on growth of cultural identity with a focus on its international ties.
What is the Global South? The Global South is generally understood to refer to less economically developed countries. It is a broad term that comprises a variety of states with diverse levels of economic, cultural, and political influence in the international order. West the Global South is for. These countries lack resources that essential for it to develop at the same rate as others. Unfortunately, countries in the Global South suffer from poverty, lack of human rights, and the depletion at the abuse of natural resources.
The term Third World was contained in 1952 by the French historian Alfred Sauvy. He compared Third World to the Third Estate. The Third World as a phrase also achieved acceptance because it gave a clear image to the developing countries in terms of political alignment and economic status. Although ruled by European colonials, Third World citizens live far from global economic, political, and military power.
What is third world country? Third world is an updated and derogatory phrase that has been used historically to describe a class of economically developing nation. Today, prepared terminology is a developing nation, an underdeveloped countries or low a middle income country. What are the first and second third countries? The first world consisted of the US, Western Europe, and their allies. The second world was the so-called communist bloc, the Soviet Union, China, Cuba, and France. The remaining nations which aligned with neither group were assigned to the third world as always has blurred lines.
A significant portion of Latin America can be classified as a part of Global South. Most of these countries have been characterized by a relationship of dependency to northern states. At one point in their individual histories, Latin American countries have been subjected to colonial rule and adopted their colonizers language, culture, religion, and economic and political systems. After these countries attained political independence, they remained economically dependent to their former colonies.
How does globalization affect Latin American culture? Many citizens of Latin America over time since globalization has begun to affect the country's belief their country in becoming fragmented and their values lost. An increased number of immigrants bring new customs, and international trade and communication penetrate all corners and country and displace the local. How does globalization affect Latin America? However, due to globalization, Latin American countries can access better and cheaper industrial and consumer products compared to those produced at home, which leads this nation to depend more on exporting energy and primary products in exchange and economic growth, and maintaining the European-style welfare system. The topic of global South Third World country and Latin American comes to close here. Thank you.
Once again, ako nga po pala si Raymart Nabalya at nandito po ako ngayon para ibahagi sa inyo ang aking kalaman patungkol sa globalization at regionalization at kung ano ang mga layunin nito sa ating bansa. So, ano nga ba ang regionalization at globalization?
Globalization and regionalization are contradictory units because of their different goal in several cases, may be the same while they may vary in others. These processes form new institutions in a global economic space that determine the behavior of macroeconomic. Thus, transplantation of institutions occurs in most developed countries, which causes a solid socio-economic dependence of recipient countries, hinders their development, enhances the technical economic underdevelopment, reduces welfare and increases economic and political risks.
Globalization at regionalization. Ito ay ang magkasalungat na unit dahil sa kanilang mga goal in their several cases. Sa kabilang banda naman, pwede rin raw itong magkakapareho depende habang ito ay maaaring mag-iba-iba. Na ang mga prosesong ito ang mga bumubuo ng bagong institusyon sa panibagong espasyo pang-ekonomiya na tumutukoy sa pag-uugali o behavior ng macroeconomic. So ano nga ba ang macroeconomic? Sino na nabanggit na bahayag? Ang macroeconomic ay isang sangay ng ekonomiya na tumatalakay sa performance, pag-uugali at paggawa ng desisyon ng isang ekonomiya. Halimbawa, yung mga taxes na binibigay natin sa gobyerno, yun yung ginagamit nilang pondo para sa pagpapagawa ng mga kalsada, pagpapagawa ng tulay, na lahat tayo ay nakikinabang.
So, hi guys! Now we are talking about globalization. What is globalization? It is the process of interaction and integration among people, companies, and governments worldwide. And since the 18th century is accelerated through advances transportation and communication technology. This increase in global interaction has caused a growth in international trade and exchange of ideas, beliefs, and culture, and this is the primarily an economic process of interaction and integration that is associated with the social and cultural aspect. Ang globalization ay nangyayari sa dalawang bansa o dalawang ekonomiya tungo sa mas maunlad na integrasyon ng bawat isa.
Ito ay nilalayong maging isang bagay na pangkalahatan, kompleto at pang-universal.
Regionalization. Regionalization is defined as an increase in the cross-border flow of capital goods and people within the specific geographical area. In contrast, regionalism is defined as a political will to create a formal arrangement among states of geographically restricted bases.
The process of dividing an area into smaller segments called regions. One of the more obvious examples of regionalization is the division of a nation into states or provinces. Ang regionalization ay ang paggalaw o pakikipagkalakalan ng bawat bayan at probinsya sa isang nasyon na ang layunin nito ay upang mapaunlad o mas makilala ang kanilang lugar sa pamamagitan ng pagkilala sa kanilang mga produkto. Tulad nilang ng, halimbawa, Marikina. Nakilala ang Marikina sa paggawa ng sapatos at tsinelas dahil sa pagtangkilik ng kanilang produkto. So now, let us now proceed to Asian regionalism.
Regionalism is seen as a venue where the state is weakened or strength. It can serve as a barrier or a bridge to greater cooperation, coordination, and interdependence. Given that most Asian countries, including those in the Southeast region, belong to the Global South, we should study how culturally diverse but economically similar nation-states are affected by regionalization.
Ang regionalism ay nakikita bilang isang lugar kung saan ang estado ay humihina o lumalakas. Maaari itong magsilbing hadlang o tulay sa higit na pagkakaisa, koordinasyon at pagtutulungan, especially the most Asian country. Kasama din dito ang iba pang mga bansa sa Southeast region na nabibilang sa Global South, na alam naman natin lahat kung ano ang kalagayan ng mga bansa na nabibilang sa Global South. dapat natin pag-aralan kung paano maapektuhan ng regionalism ang magkakaibang kultura ngunit magkakatulad na ekonomiya ng nation-state. 1968, kung kailan ang ASEAN ay naitanyag na meron pa lamang 5 orihinal na membro, Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia at Singapore, na sa paglipas ng panahon ay unti-unti na itong lumawak na sinalayan na ng Brunei noong 1984 after the independence from Britain, 1995, Vietnam, Laos and Burma noong 1997 at Cambodia noong 1999. There are the several factors that are leading in the Asian region into greater integration. First, trade. The world economy is intertwined and interdependent with each other. Global trade facilitates and harmonizes the exchanges of goods and services between countries in the world. Second, similar culture. The cultures of Asia are diverse, but they share many similarities. The phenomenon makes integration an easier fit during times of negotiation. And third, shared goals. The Asian region recognizes the mutual benefit of slow integration. The territories involved have common interests and close to each other. The workforce of its population can serve as a powerful negotiating bloc against those from other parts of the world. And that would be the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Is an important facet of social existence. It is the belief of something and where it exists. Also, it is the before-time origin of truths. According to Clifford Geertz, an American anthropologist, religion is the system that acts to establish power. Religion are always connected to each other. Globalization has been concluded to economics and political interdependent, while religion are more self-conscious of themselves. There is always a conflict between the two because some people do not take new realities and turn to religion to discover their own identity. Lasting effect of early Islam. After the death of Prophet Muhammad, Islam spread across the Arabian Peninsula. During the Muslim dynastics held power under the religious mandate in the early 14th century, Islam arrived in the Philippines and introduced to the Mindanao, where it has a sophisticated system government known as Sultanate. The Islamization was followed centuries later by Christianization. The native population spiritual guided by Babylonians. Babylonians were the shamans of the various ethnic groups of the pre-colonial Philippines, and then the Christianization occurs. The native population were changed according to Catholic because of these charges. Religion and beliefs and practices. Culturally, Philippine society is a manifestation of globalization. Filipino religious aspects was mostly influence of Islam and Christianity. 85% of the population is Roman Catholic. One product of Christianity is the Christmas season. More Filipino media, such as television shows, etc., play music, jingles related to Christmas. Catholicism has direct and indirect influence that have altered the culture and ways of life of global conflict. No major religion has been exempted from complicity in violent conflict. However, we need to be continuous of universal prosperity to overpricing the role religion plays in international of the global conflict resolution with the non-violent process to educate was peace important because it provides the nation development and collaboration for the common good of our. It also enable for people to visit every country with fear of violence.